And once again, we say a huge thank you to Brian Martin for supplying a new and extended range of BBS and CFAX broadcast pages, most of which are courtesy of his own Night Owl service, which should be live and running right now. The addresses for which are on screen, either to dial in directly or alternatively through your web browser. Once again, we say a huge thank you to Brian Martin. Good evening, this is youtube.com/Wi-Fi Sheep. We are live. The time is a few minutes past 8. Hello everybody, good evening and a very warm welcome to 8 Till Late live on youtube.com/Wi-Fi Sheep with me, Tom. And I have a horrible feeling I'm slightly out of focus. I knew I was before we started. So 1 minute, bear with me. Hang on, let me just, there we go. Manual focus cameras. Okay, that's a bit better. There we are, right. How you doing? Welcome to the live stream. Nice to be back after a week off last week. I'll go into some dates and times shortly. I'm fortunately not going to be here next week either because we've got a family visit. So just bear in mind there's going to be another break next week and I will be back the week after. So sorry about that, but obviously family commitments get in the way. Anyway, we're here right now, so we'll see how we get on this evening. I personally don't feel particularly prepared for tonight, but I never am. What I have got is, if I can show you on cam 2, laptop will come to in a minute. I have my cup of tea, and I've been threatening to do this for a few live streams now. I've got my biscuits, ginger nut biscuits, so I might start eating during the live stream. So if you're easily irritated or offended by that, I'm sorry. Anyway, how are you doing? Hope everybody is well. Yeah, we'll get on with a few things in a moment, and also a few things I want to bring you up to date with. But first, let's just say hello, welcome, and thank you, as we always do, to our brilliant YouTube channel members. There they all are. And actually, I need to count them because I think there's someone missing. Hang on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There is someone missing, which I'm going to have to fix that. Apologies. I do need to fix that. I was doing the members live thing last week. Start again. I was doing the members card in an edit for a video which has just gone live, and the number didn't add up, and I thought, who are we missing on the live stream? And we are missing someone off the end, so apologies for that. I'll get that fixed. You are, however, you know who you are, and you are actually on the video credit, and I need to get that fixed. So apologies for that, but for everyone else, there they all are. Thank you so much for supporting me here on youtube.com/Wi-Fi Sheep. If you want to be brilliant and join them and eventually get your name on that card, then it's patreon.com/Wi-Fi Sheep, patreon.com/Wi-Fi Sheep. Alternatively, you can do it right here on YouTube by becoming a YouTube channel member. Prices start from 99p all the way up to $2.99. That price will be converted into your local currency, and if it can't, you'll see it in US dollars. I'm just trying to find what I've done. Oh, here we are. Can't even find the right button. Right. So, exhibition, events, and show dates. I do have some news that I can kind of confirm with you. So, I will get links and details because I don't think you can actually book tickets for any of these yet. But these are the 2 events that I am more or less confirmed to be attending. So, we've got the National Museum of Computing, the Econet LAN party, that's happening on Saturday the 7th of June, Sunday the 8th of June 2025 at the National Museum of Computing, Bletchley Park, Milton Keynes, UK. I went to the first ever Econet LAN party event 2 years ago. Didn't go to last year's, but do intend to do both days. I only did one day on the first one I did, but we'll do both days this year. Excuse me while I have the tea. Yeah, I cannot do this live stream without a cup of tea. Right, so I'm going to be there both days, and it's not quite a full show. You do get a lot of visiting computers, but basically it's all Acorn compatible hardware that uses the Econet networking system. And basically, how many machines can you join together in one joint network? So that's kind of the ethos of the event. But also, obviously, the museum is then open. And the National Computing Museum is always worth a visit. The National Museum of Computing, sorry, I should call it its correct name, is always worth a visit. And obviously I'm going to be there, so it's just a case of I'll be there for both days. So it's a case of if you want to come along, hang out for the weekend, basically. So yeah, looking forward to that. And then we have the dates for Cambridge Retro Computer Festival 2025. This is at the Centre for Computing History, Cambridge. It's going to be on Saturday the 15th and Sunday the 16th of November 2025. I fully intend to be there because I've booked the hotels for both events. So it's my intention to actually be there. Now, I will get you links and confirm that when I can. There was going to be a third event, which was going to happen. It's Midlands Retro Festival, which was organised by the same grouping that organised Cambridge. Unfortunately, that looks like it's fallen through. There is a replacement event happening in Swindon, which I don't think's been announced yet. I'm not sure if I can do that one. It's going to be in May this year. I honestly don't think I can do it, which is a real shame, because I would love to have done it. So I will give you details nearer the time, but I don't think I'm going to be at that one, unfortunately. But these two on the screen now, I definitely almost 100% will be at. Just obviously it's to be confirmed, subject to change. Full details when available. Over on Wi-Fi Sheep Channel 2, a new video has gone up. Channel 2 hasn't had anything since summer, or last summer I should say. So Wi-Fi Sheep Channel 2, we've been looking at Revs, one of my absolutely favourite 8-bit racing games for the BBC Micro. The video contained the BBC Micro and the Commodore 64 version. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, and there's actually been some comments on that about actually would I do more gaming or sort of 8-bit gaming videos, which I've kind of been a bit reluctant to do. One, because I'm not a huge gamer in that sense, but if there's interest in it, that's definitely something we could look at expanding over on Wi-Fi Sheep Channel 2. If you haven't subscribed, so right, Wi-Fi Sheep, the main channel you're watching this on right now, has about 5,500 subscribers. Channel 2 has just over 100. So it would be amazing if more people would like to support Wi-Fi Sheep Channel 2. It has a mixture of computing. We've got Trains on 2, Model Railway series, and there's a few other things I do, like radio topics, things like that. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, Wi-Fi Sheep Channel 2. Really would appreciate your support. Links are in the description to this live stream / video right now. Alternatively, it's 2.wifisheep.co.uk. Would really appreciate the support. If you would love to subscribe over there as well, then you'll get all the extra Wi-Fi Sheep content that you might be missing, but it's not posted here on the main channel. So that's latest video, Revs 8-bit Racing Classic, over on Wi-Fi Sheep Channel 2. Over here on the main Wi-Fi Sheep channel, if you are a channel member or Patreon backer, you will have access to this video, which went up yesterday. This is the one I was working on. And this fills in the gap between where we left off 2 weeks ago with the last 8 till late, and I guess tonight. So Acorn BBC Master 128, the CMOS battery and PyTube Direct, and a slight issue which developed where I've managed to brick the GEM operating system that was running happily on the Master 128, and then I've broken it. And I'm kind of hoping that perhaps tonight we might be able to fix that, but don't hold your breath. Basically, this is the introduction to a new series I'm going to be running with a theme over this year for 2025 here on Wi-Fi Sheep called Rotten Acorns. The BBC Master wasn't rotten, but I do have some other Acorn hardware which is in real problems at the moment, real dire straits. So a new series to get machines up and running to take out to both the LAN party in Bletchley Park, National Computer Museum, and also to have the content ready to exhibit later on in the year at Cambridge. So this will be a brand new series, Rotten Acorns, starting right here. This video will be live to everybody shortly, but for now, if you want an advanced peek and you are a YouTube channel member or a Patreon backer, go and have a look at it now. It's sitting there for you live on the main Wi-Fi Sheep channel. Okay, so yeah, quite a lot. Can I get all that out? Where are we? 14 minutes in. Yeah, so the BBC Master that we left off last week, I tested out. You might remember 2-3 weeks ago, I did some resoldering work on the PyTube Direct interface board that sits in the Master, and that allows a Raspberry Pi to connect directly to a BBC Micro and act as a virtual co-processor. And the board, I'd used the wrong flux. You might remember I'd used, it's still here. I'd use this, which is plumbing flux, which is a big no-no when what I should have used, and I didn't have at the time, was this, which is alcohol-based electrical flux. Anyway, the result of that was that the flux made all the pins go crusty, so we spent a bit of time live on this live stream rejigging everything, resoldering, and I'm pleased to say that card worked and it's in the video. But while I was messing around with the video, and I've got a few pictures actually, which we'll just come to, but while I was messing around, basically I've managed to brick the graphical user interface gem that ran on the the 128 running in Intel CoPro mode makes a virtual BBC Master System 512, and then you can run the gem graphical user interface, which we've done before. I've shown you it before on the channel. Basically, you can run 16-bit x86 software, and it runs as a virtual 286 Intel 286 coprocessor. But it does run off floppy disk, which makes any kind of point-and-click graphical user interface a bit of a nightmare. Unfortunately, I said I was messing around trying to switch it from high-res mode to CGA mode to see if I could get colour in the interface, because it runs in black and white in high-res mode, similar to Hercules graphics. And unfortunately, I bricked it. It doesn't boot. You can boot DR-DOS, but you can't boot gem. So I needed to fix that. We'll come back to that in a moment. That's why the laptop is here. So we're going to do an experiment very shortly to see if we can fix the disk. The disk works, it just loads with a syntax error. So I don't know what I've done, but I've broken it basically. In the meantime, let me show you some photos. Okay, so this is basically my week. So we'll go back on topic in a minute, but this is my week. And this is a picture sent to me by my darling fiance Anna while I was at work. She's had the week off, you see, and obviously she's had a bit of time on her hands, apparently. So she made this, and I was like, that's lovely. And then she made this, sorry, as well. I was like, what on earth is this? So basically, she's been making food for our chickens. So if you don't know, we've had a bird flu outbreak, and the British government here in the UK have ordered all poultry to go into lockdown. Nothing new. This has happened before, which means my birds have to be housed in sort of sealed, I say indoors. They're allowed in their run, but they're not allowed outside in the wild, so to speak. So they're kind of locked up. So she's gone and made them lots of food. And I got sent this picture. She's basically baked a cake for the chickens to eat. Right? It's actually made of eggs. So we have a lot of surplus eggs. If you scramble them up, make a giant block of scrambled egg, you can actually feed them back to the birds, and it gives some of the nutrients things back to the animals. So they've had some vegetables and a giant chicken cake. So if you're wondering how the chickens are doing, they're all fine, and they've just had a giant cake baked. Back to the computer then quickly. This was the setup just after I got it running, and I was testing it with a CRT. I've got quite a few of these little 5-inch, I think they're 5.5 inch black white CRTs. Some are better than others. This particular one from M-Tech is actually a really, really nice little monitor. Obviously black and white CRT, and it accepts composites in. And I actually tried it on the BBC Master, and you can see here, although the resolution isn't amazing, the screen actually is not bad. Not bad from one. Normally these are very blurry, but that's actually not bad at all. So here it was running Gem Desktop on the BBC Micro, and this is the bit that I then, in the next breath, broke. And I think what I was trying to do, because I was running it on such a small, low quality CRT, I wanted to see if I could increase the resolution. So we dropped the resolution to increase the sharpness of the picture. So I was going to go from this sort of what is effectively Hercules high resolution mode into a lower resolution CGA mode. But unfortunately that broke and it wouldn't boot after I'd made the change. And I'm kind of kicking myself because this is going to be a complete pain to get up and running again. hence why we'll come back to that in a moment. I'll just show you then just a quick few pictures, something we might come back to if we have time. This is a picture from work, and basically I parked my car next to my desk. How many people can do that? No, in all seriousness, I brought my car here into the workshop because I was loading it up with things from the university that needed to go on to our second education campus site in Telford Town Centre. So I just thought it's quite funny being able to park my car in the same room where my desk is, but there we are. And then what I did actually bring, and this is over at the education centre, is we were doing a demonstration of AI and robotics, and I actually brought along one of my tiny basic computer systems, and I had this really bright idea of putting it all in a case, but it was done at the absolute last minute. Very tired one night because work has been absolutely flat out all week, so today's only been the only day I've actually had off or time to myself. But basically I thought, let's put it in a case, so I hurried this thing together. I actually have it here in the room with me right now. Let's just go overview. So make a bit of space. We'll leave that laptop just there for a minute. Park my biscuits somewhere where they won't fall over. So I got one or two of these red, like art, like children's art cases. I think these are what these were originally. And cleared it up. And yeah, that's upside down. Basically I stuck it all together with double-sided tape, which did the trick, but is all now sliding all over the place and doesn't quite work. Basically double-sided a keyboard into the bottom. These breadboards, it's the breadboard version, double side anyway. And I then grabbed, this is the same TFT composite display that we were using on the Beamster, and I just put some double-sided tape on the back of it. It's all a bit crude, it was all a bit rushed, it was sort of last minute kind of, I've got a clever idea, let's do this. It does actually work, it should work, he says. So if we're going to need some power. So also, right, I tried to, in a kind of clever moment of not thinking, bearing in mind, I've just come back from work, full day of work. It's now gone 7, 8 o'clock at night, right? I've been working, I got up at like 5:30 or something. I was in work for 10 past 8, right, in the morning. So I've done it's been a long day. And I had this really clever thing of, we could like run it off a 9-volt battery. That'd be great. Completely forgetting that this is wired for 5 volts. And I put this all in, I put a little power switch in, and I thought, I'm being really clever. And of course, it's not, I basically put 9 volts on the 5-volt rail. And it actually powered up for a little bit, and then it died. And it wasn't until the next day, going back to that photo, when this was set up, bear in mind this is now not running on a battery because the battery died, that I realised that, hang on, I've just put 9 volts on the 5-volt rail. That's not good. And the only reason I think it hasn't actually damaged it is the battery, I think, has died and may not be giving out 9 volts. You see the expiry date? 2017 on the 9-volt battery. So I think using a dying dud expired battery saved this, and that was a massive stuff up on my part, which could have ended very badly. I mean, you've seen these before, but we should be able to just power up if you want to just see. It should work. It should work, and I bet you it won't work because we're live and you're all watching me live, and this now won't work. So that can go off to some power, which we'll do in a minute. And we just need, where is it gone? We just need a power source for the monitor. So I've got one of this. This was a PSU we bought when we were testing, trying to power tiny basic computers up. So let's just put that in there. So confusingly, this always goes in the red. The red jack on these little monitors is actually power, so that goes sort of like that. I appreciate this. You can't see because the light's in the way, but right. So 9 volts, we power up the monitor. There we go. And right. Now, if I put the... Let's think about what I'm doing. So I've got the USB. I'm just going to put this into my... So I've got like a little USB power supply thing. That powers up. It'll flick a bit. And there we go. It stabilizes. Let's just turn off the overhead light. There you go. So you can actually see. So, yeah. And it should work. So I should be able to just... There we are. The keyboard does work on this memory. So I managed not to fry it, despite the fact I ran 9 volts on a 5 volt rail, but I basically don't think the battery had 9 volts in it. So what I'm thinking is I might keep this together because I always kind of like need one of these tiny basic self-build computer rigs. You know, I'm taking it out to work, I'm showcasing it at other things. And I never have one available because I'm constantly pinching the parts or pulling them to bits. So it might be quite nice just to have one or two like case computers. I mean, these monitors are cheap enough, so I can just buy another one of these and just fit stuff properly, not just thrown in like this. And you know, that might be good. It also stops me kind of pillaging components because I never have a good working system because I'm always pillaging stuff. So it's my own fault, but. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm thinking with that. And it all works, which is good. But we're not doing tiny basic computers tonight. By the way, I am going to be back to doing some work on the Rio system at some point in the not too distant future. We just got a bit distracted with everything this evening. And there's too many other interesting projects to be doing. So let's... take that out. There we go. So, oh yeah, we'll just, let's look at the, start again. I can't speak tonight, it's terrible. Let's have a look at the chat. So we'll say hello to Findus, Ab or Abe, Brian Martin, hello, good evening, hello everybody. So yes, maybe Gem 3 would run on the master. Yes. Is that you saying? Yes, Gem 3. I think you hit P by accident. Yes, apparently. We'll come back to that in a minute. Yes, Gem 3 will, apparently. So, yeah, I need to... Well, we're hopefully going to try and fix this disk, but I'd actually like to run Gem 1, because that was the one before Apple sued Digital Research and crippled it. So you actually had like the full windowing desktop system, which I actually quite liked. So yeah, and I will say Brian saying nice to be back after the break last week. If you've only just joined us, Brian, you probably missed the news that I'm not, unfortunately, not going to be here next week either because I've got a family visit. So we're having another break next week, so apologies for that. And pretty nifty solution to keep it in a simple box. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So because I keep pillaging these systems apart, and I just need, but we need to present it better than this. This has literally been thrown together, but it'd be nice to should be able to get these to battery operate. If I wired them in properly, we should actually be able to run off a 9-volt battery properly with 9 volts and 5 volt power rails. Anyway, so that's that. I have got something else we could show you very quickly before we do this, which let's do that now. Let's just some lights back on. There we go. Right. So I had this come, and this has been ordered for a project which I have shot content for. If you were here 2 weeks ago, you will know at the very end of the live stream this is for, what I'm doing. And I think, from memory, I've actually posted on for members on Patreon and YouTube channel members, I've also posted about this. I've actually also talked about this on Brian's Night Owl BBS. I actually did a post about sort of the beginnings of this. But anyway, so this is a 5¼ inch bay USB hub for internal use in PCs, which wasn't very expensive, and I'm hoping to retrofit this into a machine that I'm actually attempting to repair and restore. Now, the interface on this is slightly confusing, so it's got a, let me just zoom in so you can see this, because maybe somebody who knows a little more about this can help me out. So excuse me when I just zoom this in, something like that. There we go. Okay, right, so obviously you've got your 7 USB 2, I assume it's USB 2 USB ports. Okay, you've got a clock which is at the 12 megahertz, which is standard for hubs, and then you've got the actual chip itself. You've then got this rather strange 2 USB sockets. This is the thing that would go to your PC motherboard, but it's got, basically it's got USB, but it's 2 separate USB connections with an unpopulated pin. I suppose that's to stop you getting the polarities. It's a reference pin, so it can only go in one way without you getting the polarities the wrong way around and blowing things up, because USB is very sensitive to being run backwards. I should know, having broke things doing that. But basically the top pins and the bottom pins are not connected through together. So I don't know, does it need both sets to run all the ports? In the same way that there's actually an unpopulated USB type, is it type A or type B? It's type A, isn't it? So there's a type A socket which is unpopulated here. Assuming you could actually plug into this and use it like a hub. And for my needs, it might be easier to go populate this and go through. But I don't understand why there's 2 sets, and they seem to go to different places. I don't know if that's an issue, if it can run the whole thing off one set. Don't know. Probably need to try it really, but I just wondered if anyone had any ideas or experience with these. I would be most grateful for any suggestions. If you're watching us back and you're not live, and obviously please feel free to leave that in the comments if you kind of know something that might be useful. Interestingly, the device I am using needs to mount in the bottom. There are these 2 holes here, but this one I think is designed to mount obviously in the sides, which is more traditional for mounting in PC cases. I think I need to mount in the bottom, which might be a problem, so I may have to drill some additional holes so I can actually fix this into the case that I'm using. We do actually get some mounting screws, and obviously we've got this cable. So yeah, that's going to be interesting, and it's all part of the project which I am filming and probably going to hopefully do a bit of filming on tomorrow being Sunday. We'll have that video on the main channel as part of our Rotten Acorns series that we are starting here on Wi-Fi Sheet, and that's going to be a theme for 2025. Okay, let's zoom out just a little bit again. There we go. Okay, so back to the problem of what I did last week in when I broke Gem. So I've got, here's the discs. Okay, and I mean, they're all used, recovered discs from various things. And this is the Gem. So I've got Gem Disc 2 and Gem 1, okay? Which are actually old Macintosh discs. Now, Gem 1, or sorry, Disc 1 for Gem, is ADFS format. This one is a weird disc because it's actually split into 2 formats. So it's ADFS, Acorn Disk Filing System, or advanced disk filing system, Acorn. And this then loads a DOS or FAT format driver. It also loads DR-DOS, and it also loads a software driver basically that allows PC formatted floppies to then be read. So half this disk is ADFS and half of it is actually FAT. I think it's FAT16 DOS format. So that disk is fine, that works. That gets you into a DOS prompt. This disk is the GEM desktop disk, which you'd then, so you take this, if you're a single disking, which I am, you take that one out, you pop this in, and then you type GEM in the same way you type Win for Windows. This is GEM for GEM, and it should load. And I made a settings change using the GEM graphic user software, and I broke GEM, and now it won't boot. It's a syntax error. So this disk, by the way, isn't corrupt. It works. It's just it says syntax error. So something has broken. So basically, I need to read this disk on something that's not the BBC system. I'm hoping, because it should be a straight PC formatted disk, we should be able to read it. Now, I do have bridge machines, full desktop PCs with proper floppy controllers on the PCBs, which is how you're meant to image disks. However, they're all in store. This mounting that has always been in view, this mounting here is PC Tower mounting. So this one, which I've just moved these canisters out of the way, this here, that is one of the PCs. It's a Hewlett-Packard Pavilion, which basically has only got one side panel on, the rest of it is just a metal chassis. And that is my traditional bridge PC. Push comes to shove, I'll just have to set it back up. But I was sort of hoping that maybe, just maybe, we might be able to get away with using a older PC laptop. So I've got a couple of these Dell PC laptops. I've used them before. These Latitude Dell machines, which are old. I'm not going to lie to you, they are very, very old. Windows XP, 32-bit. Hopefully, he says, you should, if I try and log in, now this was working earlier, but this may have stopped working, which is very annoying. So I actually have, let's go back to camera, I've actually got a capture card. And this was working before we went on air. So that's going VGA to do that. It's got power. And I'm not getting an image now. Yeah, which is extremely annoying. Some of these have been a little bit on the iffy side. Just bear with me. I knew when I'd set this up this evening, I thought this is going to be fraught with problems. You just knew. Okay, so that's VGA. I forget how much I paid for these laptops. It was about £50 a machine, but it was some years ago, so they probably devalued. Oh, there we go. Right, that's working. Okay, that's working. Right, so welcome to Windows XP running on this laptop. The trackpad is beyond slow. Come on. Right. So I've had a go at installing or trying to install Omniflop, which is the program I use on the other desktop, Hewlett-Packard desktop machine. But it wasn't very happy. Now, obviously, this is a laptop. It doesn't have floppy drive at all. It's one of the sort of first generations where they stopped supporting disks. So what I bought the other day, because I was curious to see how well these worked, was this, which is a 34 pin to USB adapter board. So it has its own controller on, and it should allow us to use, I've got a couple here, actual real internal floppy drives. So by the way, these surprisingly are actually getting a little bit thin on the ground. So a few years ago you could pick these up on eBay for about 99p used. Now they're going for about nearly 20 to 40 pounds, which is astonishing when you think about it. So this lower one was actually out of my PC. Do you remember that PC? I was that that shopping one that what was it called? POS, DigiPOS. Sorry, beg your pardon. DigiPOS machine. Well, this one I have bought, one of the cheaper ones I've just bought off eBay, because I thought, you know what, I might want a stock of these because you never know. Sounds like I'm hoarding things, but never mind. Right, so basically this adapter, this way around, it goes into the back. Okay, and then these things actually only need 5 volts. So there's a Molex to Molex style connector, and it just bridges, like that comes part of the kit. This should have a bit of glue on it. You can see it's a bit, show you that, see it's a bit loose. It's a little bit worried, but so we'll put that down the side, and then we should have a USB interface. And I hate the USB on this. Come on, get in. There we go. Right. Disk spins up. Windows. I tried this on the streaming machine that you're watching this through at the moment, which is Windows 11, and it was having absolutely none of it. So I'm hoping that if we're on this older XP machine, it'll be a bit happier. Famous last words. So, back to XP. And you can see it sees an A drive, a floppy drive, which it actually reads as a floppy drive. Now, big moment. This should be a DOS FAT16 formatted. It should be 720k. It's a double density disk, hence it only has the single hole. Will this disk read in Windows on this machine? Let's find out. Lights on, it is reading. No. Obviously I don't want to format the disk. I'm pretty sure these would just open on the other machine. Let's try trying to think what else have I got. I've got a few just off camera here. I have a few blanks. These are all double densities. I'm hoping these have got nothing on, by the way, but I'm hoping that this isn't just going to read high densities only, because it won't read double densities. This isn't going to be particularly useful for our needs. So I'll say yes to this disk. I do want to attempt to format it. So, but it wants to format it as a 1.44, which absolutely can't work because that's not a 1.44 high density disk, it's a double density disk. So this absolutely won't work. but let's try it anyway. It can't format it. It cannot format it to the correct. It won't work. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Oh dear. I'm trying to think, have I got a proper... I have got a stock of double densities, high densities, which is... oh God, where are those gone? The problem is all the floppies I've got out that I can grab very quickly are all kind of got stuff on I don't really want to wipe in an experiment, if you know what I mean. If you can just bear with me, because I've got to move a ton of boxes. Unfortunately, I need to have a sort out basically at some point, because everything is buried under boxes of other things. And for those of you that know basically how small this space is, and trust me, it is very small, you'll know that if too many things get moved, I can end up boxing myself in the room. Right. Let's just grab. I'm trying to just grab a. That'll do. Right. Yeah, that wasn't a good sound. Okay. So I've just got here a generic red floppy. I don't know what's on this disc. It's probably Mac formatted. A lot of these discs are, but let's put that in. So this is a high density disc. Okay. So will it at least read this disc? Right, it says it's not formatted. Yes, I do want to format this then. I hate the mouse. Right. Right, my gut feeling, so this basically isn't of any use because BBC Master 128 can't read HD format discs basically, so we can't read or write double densities using this system, and this controller only supports high density discs. Right, so I mean it does technically work, and if you needed to read stuff off later slightly newer high densities, then yeah, but for our purposes, especially if we want to write specialist formats or recover data, yeah, this ain't gonna work. You thought me cleaning up solder the other week was boring. Watch us now as we live stream formatting a 3.5 inch floppy. I can't honestly remember if it's Windows that doesn't support it, or do you know what, I can't remember. I can't remember if it's XP that doesn't support double densities anymore, or if it's going to be the, most likely it's going to be the USB or the floppy controller on the USB device that can't support it. The drive absolutely can support it. Come on, we were doing well. We seem to have got stuck. It's making a clicking sound. Oh, no, we're carrying on. Does anyone else remember floppies being this slow? Maybe they were. We've just, you know. And also, while we wait, we'll say good evening to Martin, who has just come in on chat saying, you know, when a floppy drive is working, as it's noisy, they don't need read lights. I've got a little green read light on this. And Arbab's just come in with a cryroflux. Is that the same as the grease weasel? I think I've heard the grease weasel is cryroflux. I can't get my words out tonight. It will write double density floppy disks. Always, and they always were slow. Yeah, do you know what? I might be misremembering because it's, you know, it's a while since I've used disks in anger. And normally, right, okay, we've done a thing. We've done a useless thing, but we've done a thing. There we are. We've got an A drive. Oh, do you know what? Have I got a bit of data? Have I got a little bit of data I can put on an A drive? What do we got? We've got some tiny basic hex here. We've got some tiny basic hex, 20k hex files. Should we put the serial terminal? That's the video side. Should we put the video? There we are. Oh, this trackpad is, I'm not making this up. This is appalling. Right. 19k. There we go. Okay. So if we now close all that. Yeah. Take the disc, that's now PC formatted. Okay, put the disc back in. Yeah, okay, there we are. So it does work. It tends to like the older, so it didn't, this controller, USB controller device here, did not like Windows 11 at all. I did try it on a Pi, and the Pi seemed to struggle with it as well, unfortunately. Here on Windows XP, 32-bit Windows XP, it is working, but it's not reading the double density formats, which means for the job that we need to do, which is to fix whatever I've done to break Gem, that's not going to work, which is really unfortunate, actually. Yeah. So, and I have got Omniflop, which I've put on here, but Omniflop does not. Sorry, hang on. Let me just cut you back to. So we got Omniflop. Yeah. It's not happy. And you can test installation and it's not happy. Yeah. And I don't think this is going to do anything. No, it's really not going to do anything. But, you know, I read the disc back. No. So we can make a disk image, but yeah. Yeah, this ain't gonna work. So, yeah. So I think we're a little bit stuck. I think I'm gonna have to just admit defeat. Admit that we need to set up my bridge machine to do the repair. I don't know if I particularly want to attempt that tonight, being brutally honest, because it would mean more chaos, and I don't think it would make for a very interesting live stream, because most of it would be you on hold while I try to pull apart everything. Yeah, but I am just like really annoyed that the disc is broken. Saying that, it might be an opportunity to put another copy of Gem onto something that looks a little more, I say professional, but isn't, you know, we could put some labels and probably have. It's probably good to have multiple boot copies of Gem, really. The suggestion of could we use Gem free? We absolutely could. Let's go over to a website I was looking at. So this is actually where my Gem discs originated from. This is Yellow Pig's BBC Computer Pages, and there's a couple of methods. So we don't actually have to do it via disk. We could do it via serial. So if we go method 2, transferring all data through serial port. Now serial is something that I do want to look at because I want to do some BBS type stuff at some point, and having a way to serial com between a BBC and a more modern PC might be quite useful. In fact, it will be very useful. So you can go via USB or you can use COM port. Now the nice thing, just going back to this particular laptop, is I'll show you the back of this machine. As well as the VGA, it does actually have a real COM port on the back. So it should be possible to go via RS-232, he says. So these bridge machines might actually be quite good at doing that. Do I have a BBC to PC serial cable? Now, I don't have a BBC to serial cable, and I was looking at one there. Well, there's two ways of doing this. There's making one up because it's a straight through pass-through connection, or there's others that use a USB interface via the CH340 driver. So I don't have anything tonight that we could serial link with, but that is the other way to do it, is to send data that way as opposed to trying to make floppy disks. We still have to make floppy disks because we've got to save the data somewhere, but until I get a hard drive solution sorted out, that's the thing I want to do, is get some kind of hard drive solution for the BBC so we can actually run Gem more efficiently than shuffling floppy disks, because floppy disks are a nightmare. Especially when trying to use a graphic user interface. Yeah, so we're not done just yet. We're probably done on that tonight because I don't think anything's going to work, but yeah, that would have been great. If this had worked tonight, that would have been fantastic, because it meant, you know, I had a sort of portable solution. But oh well, there we go. So yeah, I think another project, another video for another day. That doesn't work. So if you're ever wondering about these interfaces for existing drives, yes, they work, but I think they're only going to work with high density disks, and that's no good for the double densities that we need for most retro computing systems. Okay, so the question is, what do we want to do? What do we want to do now? Yeah, that's a good angle, isn't it? Yeah, hang on. Right. Okay, right. So, question is, what do we want to do now? The BBC is... so we could actually... I can't speak. I'm so sorry. I cannot speak tonight. I'm tripping over all my own words. We could set up one of the masters back up. There's a couple of things we could do. We could look at doing another battery pack. So I have the battery pack, I think, working. Those of you, as I've said in the intro, and we'll just go back to that actually. So those of you that are channel backers, Patreon members or YouTube channel. So Patreon backers, YouTube channel members, this video is available for you now. So this is the filler video that shows what I did last week. This is Acorn BBC Master 128, CMOS battery and pipe tube direct. So basically the machine we're working on, I got back up and running, and I've done it in a separate standalone video. And it launches a new series called Rotten Acorns, which we're going to run through 2025 here on the Wi-Fi Sheep on the main channel. And while I was also there, I had a look at Revs. We played Revs on the same BBC Master 128, and that video is available for everybody and it's over on Wi-Fi Sheep Channel 2. So if you haven't subscribed to Wi-Fi Sheep Channel 2, please go and do that now. It's 2.wifisheep.co.uk will be the address that'll take you straight through to the second YouTube channel. Alternatively, you can link to it straight through from the description on this video. So, yeah. And Abba was just suggesting jam a bit of cardboard in the, I think if possible, pseudo double density. The disc is formatted. Yeah, I know that works. Yeah, and I know what you're talking about because I have done that, and I'm just trying to think, have I got any discs that have sinful discs that do this? Hang on. Yes, I do. Yeah, I know that works. Yeah. It's a big no-no, you shouldn't do it. But yeah, so my Elite disc here, I think was actually very similar to that, but it was high density, and I've just papered over the hole, and it tricks most machines into reading them as double density discs. So there is an argument that that's not particularly stable way, and it used to be people used to back in the day, they'd take double densities, they'd punch a hole in them and make them into fake high density discs. And now the irony that we're trying to do that the other way around. Where possible, if I can, I like to try and save proper double density format discs. But yeah, no, it does absolutely work, but I don't think that's going to help us because we can't read or write the actual formats needed. So it doesn't matter, it's not going to work, unfortunately. But no, that totally works. You can totally make fake discs by doing that. Fake real discs by doing that. But yeah. Yeah, so I'm trying to think now, what do we want to do? He says, what do we want, people? Do we want to do BBC Micro, or do we want to do C64? Not a proper C64, a fake. The C64, the troubled C64. What do we want to do? Because I've got both of them just down here, so I'll set up whatever the consensus is this evening. Could end up just playing revs again. So if anyone wants to drop in on the chat and tell me what you want to do, we'll take this opportunity. We've just got up to an hour now, so we'll take this opportunity. We'll go for a quick break, and when we come back, if you want to drop in the chat what you kind of want to see next, and we'll go from there. And I'll use the opportunity just to clear this desk. So we'll go back to the many BBS pages and Telex pages of Night Owl BBS supplied to us courtesy of Brian Martin, and we'll be right back. 8 till 8, a very warm welcome back. Thank you for just bearing with me and for staying with us here on the live stream this evening. So the general consensus seems to be we'll do something with BBC Micro this evening, and I have here now on the desk is the Master 128. This is the one we've been working on, and it's the one that features in the video, which will be live to everybody, or I should say published to everybody, probably either later tonight or tomorrow now. If you want to watch it and you are a YouTube channel member or Patreon backer, you can do so. It's live on the channel now for those of you that are backers. Where are we? There we are. So it's Acorn BBC Master, and it starts a new series called Rotten Acorns. Very pleased to say that this machine actually wasn't rotten, it just needed some battery issues. It's all back together. I've also now cleaned the keyboard, which I do in the video. It's got screws, the fingers actually screw back together. It works. I've attached the floppy drive and we should be able to power up. But what we need to do before I do that is we need to put a video link in so you can see on screen what's going on. Now, it was suggested to me from the other video, and we just go back to the other video, where are we? Show dates. So, I did this video, Revs, where I played Revs on this particular machine, which is over on channel 2. So, again, if you've not subscribed, please, please, please go and subscribe to Wi-Fi Sheep channel 2, 2.wifisheep.co.uk. Links in the description to this video / live stream. So I was playing the game, and it's suggested over there that, oh, you know, people wanted to see me play more Acorn games on the BBC, oops, wrong thing, on the BBC Micro. There we go. And yeah, it's great. But the way I was capturing it was I was going VGA to SCART, and I was going through an adapter box to HDMI so you could see on screen. That's great. Apart from there is an issue with lag. So the inputs I put in, there's a distinctive lag between what I do on, or what the computer does, and what you see on the screen. I'm not just talking streaming lag, because obviously you are possibly anything up to 20 seconds behind what's actually happening in real time, just the way YouTube is, I'm afraid. But for me, there is a distinctive kind of like almost half-second lag, which when you're playing games can be rather problematic. So I kind of need a more immediate solution that still allows me to do video capture, but doesn't generate a lag that prevents me from playing games, I say well, but you know, possibly gives me a possible chance to play games, put it that way. So the other solution is to actually use one of these, which is a composite to HDMI converter. These don't have a lag, or if they do have a lag, it's minimal. So you do have minimal, you have like a quality loss, but it's worth paying, basically, a compromise basically to pay. So this plugs in via USB, so that's no USB in. We then go composite video, so we'll just go, I'll put black into yellow, and we'll go into the, actually I need the BNC adapter, don't I? Hang on, clever ideas. Now what did I do with the BNC adapter? So BBC Micros need a BNC adapter. Let's have a quick look. Oh, by the way, while we're on the subject, I actually found the card. This is the Ethernet networking card that needs to be inside this or the other machine in order to join the LAN party. I couldn't find it. This is the card I used the last time I went to the LAN party event happening at Bletchley Park. And I actually found it the other day. So let me just, hopefully we've got the adapters in here. Right, it's not in that box. Is it in the other box? He says. Hoping it's in the other box, because if I've lost the BNC adapter, this isn't going to work tonight. Oh dear. Come on, where is it? Be in the other box, be in the other box, not that one. And it's not in that. What have I done with that? Because I put it in a safe place, because I thought I'm going to need that again. It's not on the back of the machine, no. ironic. We have a ton of BNC adapters at work, and then I have next to none here. What have I done with the BNC adapter? This basically is what happens when I have a break. You know, all best laid plans, all just collapses in front of me. Oh, do you know what I might have done? I wonder, ironically, I wonder if it's actually in the box. So if I go back to, let's go back to photos. So I go back to, nope, don't want a chicken. Right. These images here, sorry. Right. So is it in the, did I put it in the box with that little television, which is just down here, so I can grab it pretty quick and answer that question. Because it was running on the BNC. So that's a composite video output from this particular machine driving that monitor. So is it in here? Hopefully it is. No, it's not. Right. Okay. You do kind of wish Acorn had just put proper composite RCA jacks on the back of these things. It's so tempting to do a mod actually with this particular machine. And apologies, that's all right. There we go. Do a mod and take the BNC off and actually just put a straight composite on. It's got a composite on the back for sound, just not blooming video, where it goes to this stupid BNC standard that basically no one uses. And no one uses on domestic technology really. So damn it. Okay, so I've put that in a super safe place for safekeepings, being super clever. Right, so yes. So trying to be clever, we might have to go through the SCART process anyway. I'm just going to check one last box just in case. Just in case it went in here by accident. So that, by the way, that's the adapter we normally use, which, you know, give you the better picture, but as I said, it's laggy, which is a real problem. So yes, Brian, I don't know what you mean by flying by the seat of my pants. This is a professional, well thought out broadcast, I'll have you know. You know, all planned and strategically planned, and you know, professional at every level, of course. We don't, you know, don't just make it up as I go along. Is the BNC on the back of another machine? No, because this is the only machine that's been in use. God damn it! Right, okay, so we have got a backup plan, which is we'll just have to power this up, which is annoying, and then we'll go through SCART, which we'll do in a minute. Let me just, do you know what, if you can bear with me, if you're watching this back or if you're just listening to the audio, because some people, I do this, sometimes you just like listen to YouTube stuff if you don't, you know, if you're tired but you want to, I don't know, I'm going to sound really weird now because I'm probably the only one who does this, but basically if you listen back to audio of YouTube stuff, other creators sometimes, if you're listening back to me right now, you're thinking, what on earth is going on? And it's all fine, you know. Oh dear. And you wait, the minute we go off air, I'll find it. I will find it. You mark my words. It'll just show up. It'll literally, right, fall in my lap is what will happen. No, I'm not going to waste any more time trying to find that. But where on earth have I put that? Oh. And this is what happens. Stuff starts to fall over now. Ah, damn it. Right, deep breath, carry on. Okay, so what I'd like to do is connect that into the back of there, obviously, and then that would work really, really nicely, but it does require a BNC adapter, and I haven't a clue. Honestly, haven't a clue where that's gone. That is remarkable how that's disappeared on me. I'm just trying to see if it's anywhere really obvious that I'm just not looking, but nope, it's not showing up, so... Sorry about that, everyone. Right, what we'll do then is we'll go in via SCART, which is fine, other than the lag issue. So, make sure this actually goes in the right one. So that's RGB. And in case those of you that aren't familiar with SCART, that's the SCART connector. That goes into this side of the box. And then we take our HDMI feed. And that's output HDMI. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is a nice box, but it's just very frustrating. So we'll just disconnect. I'll take that one out in a minute. If I find the BNC, if it shows up during the stream, we'll swap over. But for now, just so we can actually do something tonight. So that goes there. And we just need the power for it. No, just checking in case it was in that box, and it isn't. Right. So power goes in. Let's go into the next power socket, which we've got. We're going to need a little bit more space here. Right, that's in. Power into the box like so. There we go. Right, if everyone is still with me, hopefully that should work. And it looking good. So we should be able to power up now. There we go. Excellent. Right. I need another break after all that. Oh, do you know what? That's going to really wind me up now. And I've put them somewhere. I know I've put them somewhere. And it will show up the minute we go off air. Anyway, right. So the good news is, as I said, I found my network card, which is superb. So I'm obviously really happy about that. So it means I can at least join the LAN party event when it happens, which is going to be amazing. I'm just trying to put that stuff back in that box. Right, now this will give me an opportunity actually to show you what's going on with these gem discs. So if we break, we've got the tube interface. So this is what's actually running inside the machine. Okay, so there's the Raspberry Pi. It's a Pi A+ board, 700 megahertz A+ board running in this. So we can now call star FX, and in this case it's 151. Now the lag is real, so as I type it's delayed behind, so this is the problem, is a real distinctive lag. So 230, and then we want to call the Intel card, which is 18. So if I now break, it switches to, you can see 8286 and nearly 1K of RAM. Now if I try my gem discs, so we'll put the Gem 1 disc in. And if I go DOS boot, it sometimes doesn't quite like it first time. Oh, actually, hang on. Getting ahead of myself. We need to go Control A break, put it in ADFS mode. And that will now load. So basically it's switched to 16-bit PC IBM compatible mode, and that'll load us DOS in, or DR DOS. Okay, and we're at an A prompt. So if I can now go dir, just like you can in MS-DOS, there's the content of the disk. Great. Take that disk out, put in what should be the Gem 2 disk, which is Gem 2 disk is here. Okay. Do a dir on that again. And you see there's the gem file, so I should be able to say gem. And crunch, there we go. Syntax error while passing a sign.system. So, broke, basically. So I need to repair that file. Or rewrite this disk, or do something. And I remember doing this, but basically that's broke at the moment. So I don't think I can do that repair from this machine, which is just really, really annoying. What does work, if I take the disk out, and if I put the, if I've got it, where is it? There we are. So the Sierra HeliSim disk, if I pop that in, and then CD HeliSim, this will work. And this disc we tried on the PC as well, my DigiPOS or DigiPOS till PC, and we tried this very disc and it worked fine under MS-DOS. MS-DOS 6 it ran fine in VGA, and it runs fine on here. There we go. And it does a full CGA graphics mode. So we go escape. Put it into demo mode. Yeah, and that's great. Now, obviously, the colours are, well, it's CGA, isn't it? So it's a bit garish, and it's nice to be able to turn it into black and white modes. It looks a bit better in black and white or grayscale, which we could do with the composite on this machine if I could find a BNC track, which I can't, which is a problem. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. So it works. As I said, the DOS stuff all works. It's just beyond annoying that I bricked that second disc. But I kind of needed to make a backup set of discs anyway. But fundamentally, I need a better solution. A hard drive based, or some sort of solid state based solution for this machine. So we're not having to run off floppy disk. Now, you have got the SD card turbo MMC systems, but they, or most of those, as far as I'm aware, need to use the DFS file system, where this needs a DFS to work, and then it needs to switch over into a DOS format, which then isn't compatible with turbo MMC. So that doesn't work. So I needed, it's complicated because we're switching into a DOS system. So that needs to be thought about, the best way to do that. I'm open to ideas. I don't want to spend huge amounts of money, but I'm open to ideas. It would be nice just to have some kind of hard drive solution so we could just load stuff basically in DOS format, even if we had to use a single floppy just to boot the machine up. If we could then switch to running off solid state, that would be very, very helpful. Anyway, there you are. So that works okay. I think we can, if we quit, and that just takes us straight back to DOS. Yeah, and if I hit break, that takes us back back into Acorn Tube interface. So we're now back at the command prompt, or the star prompt of the Acorn system. Control break does a complete reset of the machine. I'm going to take the disk out, and we've gone back to Acorn. In this case, 1770 DFS. So this is the standard format. Yeah. I'm just looking at chat with what Avab's suggesting. So HXC floppy drive emulators have 34-pin Gocart connection and load floppy images off an SD card. The web's okay. Isn't that very similar to the Gotex? And just answering Martin's question, can I edit the file and sort out syntax there? Yeah, well, yes, but not on the BBC. So I'm trying to remember it, because it could be about 10 years ago, thereabouts, when I bricked this. I did this last time, and we've fixed the machine on PC. But the bridge PC is behind me, and I need to set that up. And I think I've already done enough scrabbling around this evening that people are going to tolerate. So I need to sit down and do it when I'm not tired, basically. But yeah, I will get this back up and running again. It's just blooming annoying that it's happened as it's happened. Why has an operating system like Gem got something in it that allows you to brick it? Click here to brick your system. It's just like, for God's sake. Yeah, so just really, really annoying that that's happened. I'm still scrabbling around, just seeing, just on the off chance if it's around, but no. Okay. So what we can do while we're here is, let's just go back to overview. So those are our PC disks, but of course we have got BBC Micro ADFS formatted disks. Now the stuff I show, so if I show, for example, white light, pop that in, we need to just escape. We need to turn, first of all, we need to turn off the CodePro. So FX 151 230, and I think it's 8. Is it 8 or is it 14? 14, I beg your pardon. 14 turns off. So that now puts us straight back in stock BBC Micro 128 made. So we need to go back to Shift D break. That puts us in the correct filing system. So there's ADFS, and then there's just stock DFS, which is what we need for this. We should be able to catalog the drive. There we go. Shift break. And this will load White Light. White Light was, well, it's a sort of mod version of Firetrack. Came out a few years ago via Retro Software. I actually bought this because it was quite cool to be able to buy a piece of new software for the BBC Micro, and actually came on 5¼ disc. I've obviously moved it around. You can actually download it for free now, but I actually purchased it at the time. I just wanted to buy something really, and it came packaged. It's a great game, but the issue I'm going to show you now is I'm playing this with a distinctive lag. So although the picture quality is really nice, it can be quite difficult to play, especially when things get more complicated or trickier later on, because I'm responding obviously like that, delayed, because of a distinctive delay in the actual converter. It's also impressive when you look at games like this, although this is a relatively modern game. It's something 2017 I think this came out. The BBC Micro does not have sprite support. So to be able to do a game like this without a machine that natively supports sprites, I don't even know if it supports hardware scrolling. I don't think it does. So you get the idea of just how impressive this is. Also the limited colour palette. This machine is pretty much stock. It doesn't have video NULA or any other clever graphics cards or anything in it. So we are just running on the stock digital TTL palette of 7 colours, or was it 8 colours? I think it's 8 colours, including black and white. Oh, the other thing I like about the Masters is they do actually have the ability to take audio. You're hearing the audio as it's coming out the speaker in the machine, and I'm shouting over the top of it. But you can actually set up, basically you can plug headphones in. You do need an adapter because ironically it's an RCA. It's like a connector, not a proper headphones connector. You see what I mean? Yeah. So I'm not going to say I'm bad at the game. I'm not going to admit that. I played it a few times. There we are. But it is actually a really impressive game. It doesn't actually need the BBC Master. It can run on a stock BBC Model B quite happily as well. So if you haven't played White Lies, I do honestly recommend it. It is now free to play. So I just bought a presentation version which came on 5¼ floppy, which is quite cool. Anyway, let's just do a system reset. So that's that. How about this? So we've got a disc copy of Elite. Ah, this is interesting. So this is the, so we have the 128 version, and we've also got the second 6502 second processor version. So what we could do, because we have actually got the tube interface, we might need to power cycle our machine. Let's just quickly power cycle the machine. Okay, so it goes into second CoPro mode as standard. So if I now put this back in and we load up, see how it detects and goes straight to second CoPro mode? So this is a version of Elite that was done at the time. This is version for the second CoPros. So this is using a basically 6502 and a second 6502 for an enhanced version of Elite. So it's a little bit different to the stock version you got on the Model B. Exclusive version for rich people that had co-processors to play games, because co-processors were expensive. Commander Tom. Which drive? 0. Okay, never mind. 1. Can we just play the game? There we go. So apologies for the flickery nature. Yes, the aspect ratio, it is the aspect ratio. I'm trying to remember how to play. There we go. That is very fast. Just trying to find where's my space station? There it is. It's flickery, but it's much smoother than the standard versions. Try not to crash into the space station. And I think there's actually some newer versions that have come out recently where they've managed to, or somebody has managed to get into the source code and has actually sorted out this flicker. So there are new native versions for the BBC Micro that run even better than this. You know, it's weird going as fast as this is. Because what you can do is for a quick there we go. It's almost running too fast. So you do that, and then all the spaceships will come out. There we go. And then you can have yourself a little bit of a fight where I usually get smashed to bits. By the way, this is not a lesson in how to play this game well, put it that way. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Don't do that. This is running too fast. It's too fast. Oh, thanks, Richard. Mark Moxon? That's correct. Yes. Right. I knew it was, yeah. That's running too fast. Sorry. And I'm going to complain, but that's running far too fast. Compared to, if we turn this off again, I need to write the blooming F230. 14 is off. Break. Boot back in again. So this is now the non-co-pro assist version running on the master. It will be fast on the master anyway. We try that again. And yeah, you can tell. Although it's not bad, but now we're not running with a co-pro assist. The game is actually running slower, which I can cope with. Basically. Sounds a bit different as well. Where's the space station? How is the space? We're going to crash into the space. Where is it there? Yeah. So you can see it's already slower. And now we just plough straight into it. There we go. Oh, of course. Thank you, Mike. Yes, that's why it was too fast. Because, right, that's why it doesn't work. Yes, I knew that. I'd forgotten that. Thank you, Richard. Right, Rich, I'll just explain what Richard means by that. Okay. So, when you do that by default, it runs basically as fast as it kind of can. And I think it's like 200 and something megahertz it runs at. And it should be running about 4. So, thank you for reminding me. Do you know what? It's just amazing. I've been so long since I've been doing any of this stuff. So FX 151 2303. You might think nothing's changed. Perhaps you put the disk in the drive. Now we do second GoPro version. It's still going to be faster. Yes. Can we? Come on. Okay, so is that a little bit better? It's still quite fast. But also you get more, there's more ships and more, because it's got more RAM, it can do more basically. So there's another vessel coming in. It's a bit more going on in the world, if you know what I mean. So there's actually other space traffic around. Yeah, okay, that seems a little bit better, possibly. I don't know, it still seems quite fast. Just watch as I'm now going to go and... There we are. Without a docking computer. Yeah, okay. Perhaps not. Yeah, alright. So that's that. I'm just looking here in the chat. We'll say hello and good evening to Half Greek Geek. Just got Tara Babel for Amiga. Yes, Amigas is something that, yeah, I don't really want to do. Didn't grow up with them. Don't really know anything about them. And what put me off getting involved with was the sheer hatred that seemed to be floating around the Amiga community. I don't know what the situation is now. And when I did sort of peer over the parapet, if you like, I seem to remember actually a while ago now when the Amiga Mini came out, and I went, nah, I'm going to give that a miss. And I just got an instant barrage of hatred, and how dare I give it a miss? And I just thought, well, it's overpriced for what it is. And all I saw was a doorstop. I'm sorry to say, but I just like, I just didn't really. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Amiga is an interesting system, and it has its place, and it did things better. It's a shame Windows killed it. Very much the same way like Acorn. It's a shame Windows killed that effectively. I don't know. You can't be over everything. Do you know what I mean? And Amiga was something that completely passed me by. We were at home. We were Mac users. At school, it was BBC Micro. Then it was Windows. Atari has been, I found Atari a little more interesting. I don't know. I think the Atari ST, mainly because of its gem connections, I think for me more interesting. But each to their own. And obviously, you're saying you're a purist of original hardware. No, there's nothing wrong with Amiga. Absolutely nothing wrong with Amiga at all. I just think, for me personally, it's not something that I could cover here. I mean, I own, well, basically a lot of the discs. So Amiga magazine cover discs that I've been reusing. That's an Amiga, or was an Amiga external drive that I converted for BBC Micro use. I have an Amiga DB9 connector style mouse that I wanted to use for an adapter for this. Yeah. So, yeah, I've got the only bits of Amiga I've ever really played with or used. I've adapted for other things. I've got to be honest with you. I did play with was it MorphOS, which comes from the Amiga stable, and I was going to do a video on that. But the thing about MorphOS was that if you could make a disk up for free, and you had to run it on G4 or G5 Apple hardware, so it had to be Motorola PowerPC hardware that it ran on. And I did that, but the issue was that the OS slowed down. You run it off CD, you had to burn the CD yourself, but the OS actually slowed down after half an hour of use until you paid. And to buy it was something stupid like £150 odd or something. And the license then stayed with the machine. So if you had to move to another machine, I don't know if it's changed now, but this was at the time, you had to rebuy the whole license again for what is a really niche operating system. And I was just like, I don't even think it was. We never covered it on the channel because I just thought it's just not worth covering. So I didn't. But I have sort of, well, I suppose sort of thought about Amiga, dabbled around the edges, but never kind of dived in. MorphOS was as close as I got, and I was a bit reluctant to push that, in all honesty. So that's kind of why we went over to Haiku. Because I think it's brilliant. It's free, it works on x86, it's 32-bit, 64-bit compatible, it runs even back onto Pentium PC hardware, it runs on quite well. So that is something I was happier to push, because I think it was more accessible for people rather than niche operating systems that need niche or old hardware and then charge you a fortune for the privilege of using. And I'm like, no, sorry, you've lost me there. Yeah. So that's my Amiga story for you. So sorry that is upsetting, but nothing against the community, nothing against Amiga hardware or users. Just ships in the night, and it just passed me by. So we've got enough going on. We've got enough going on with the Acorn stuff, which I have neglected for too long. And so many of you have said to me, "Oh, will you do more BBC Micro? Will you do more Acorn type stuff?" So I was like, "Yeah, that's what we're doing right now." Right, so I think it's coming up to 10 o'clock, and I think I've slightly ran out of steam this evening on this chaotic live stream. I sort of feel like I should apologise for the crashing around and the boxes that are absolutely everywhere. Yeah. So just to remind you, if you've joined us late, I'm not here next week because I have some family coming over. So we won't be here next week. We will be back the week after. Again, I'll just show you, where is it? I'll put it in a really stupid place on my list. So we actually have some show dates. These are more or less confirmed, but just let me confirm it. So we have a LAN party at the National Museum of Computing, and we've got Cambridge Retro Festival 2025, both coming up. There are the dates on screen. I plan to be there on both of these days across both events. The Midland show that was meant to be happening, excuse me, tripping over myself here. The Midland show that was meant to be happening isn't happening. There is something happening in Swindon in May, I believe. I don't have the details on that just yet. I don't think I'm going to be able to make that, unfortunately. So these are the two events. So there's one in June and one in November this year that I can absolutely make. So hope to see you at those. Be a lot of fun. And this will be the launch of a new project for this year. So called Rotten Acorns. And a video that has gone up on basically what I did last week while we weren't live streaming on this particular BBC Micro, and we got it up to speed with a CMOS battery and PiTube Direct. Richard Webb, who's in the chat, has actually very kindly sent me some additional bits, which is really, really kind of him. I did see your message, Richard, so thank you for that. Basically, he sent me some bits for a BBC Master 128. So the other machine, so this is the first BBC Master, is this one here. I then have the second machine, which is my original machine, that I'm going to need. It needs battery CMOS fitting in it, possibly a change of ROM as well. So we'll do that next time. So I'll just wait for these bits to come through from Richard. So again, thank you so much for that, and really do appreciate it. I must admit, especially when I do BBC Micro stuff, the amount of members of the community that kind of come through to me and sort of offer me things to help me along is greatly appreciated. I don't know if it's out of charity, if everyone just feels sorry for me. It feels like that sometimes, because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's amazing what you've forgotten actually from this, but yeah. Anyway, greatly appreciated, Richard. So we will look at that next time. Yeah. So that is just about it from me for tonight. I'm just looking at the chat and talking about Thrust. Yes. Have I played that on the BBC? I've played a port of it for Risk OS, which was the port from the BBC. Yeah, if I had if I was more prepared tonight, we had the MMC system set up in one of the machines. We could totally look at that, and I should have done that really. I'm just annoyed about my BNC connector going missing. I'm like, where is it? Where is it? It's somewhere. I've put it somewhere. Anyway, right. Never mind. I will try to be less chaotic next time, which is 2 weeks' time when we're back. I make no guarantees. I feel I should apologise for tonight, but I'm not going to, because it's been fun and it's been great to have your company. So if you haven't done so already, please do consider liking and subscribing. Lots coming up on the channel. There's going to be new videos launching very soon, including the launch of our Rotten Acorns series for this year here on Wi-Fi Sheep. I'm going to be back in 2 weeks' time. There's no live stream next week. I'll be back in 2 weeks' time. Thanks once again for your company. And I think at the time now, approaching 10 o'clock, it's 21:58 minutes. So we are literally 2 minutes from the hour. Can I wish you a very peaceful night? Hopefully you have a more peaceful night than I've had with all the crashing around. And we'll do this again live in 2 weeks' time. From myself and everyone here at Wi-Fi Sheep in Shropshire, have a great evening. Good night.